Thank you for joining us. Welcome to LumioseStation.
What's good, LumioseStation? Today I'm bringing you another Pokemon X and Y UU battle against a subscriber from Twitter name, as that name is DeadArcher1223, but apparently his name on X and Y is Man, so that's a thing. But yeah, today I'm bringing you a shorter battle because if you look at my team, I don't really have any sort of Pokemon that could be walls. I guess you could count Cloyster as a wall because his physical defense is fucking crazy, but either way, I'm bringing you guys a UU battle where I use a hyper offensive team. I of course built this team by myself and I'm kind of proud of it. It does somewhat work, you know, it could have probably been built better. It's not the greatest team in the world by far, but it did decent on Showdown in my test run. And you know, if you know me, I suck at Showdown battling just because I feel like I focus a lot more in actual X and Y, so I'm not too great at Showdown battle. Either way, I did great on Showdown. I won most of my battles with it, so I was pretty proud of it. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the team. So Victini is just like a monster in UU. Like, he's probably just one of the best Pokemon there from my knowledge, at least. You know, a lot of people tell me that, you know, Victini just, you know, he wrecks lives, you know, and since Quagsire is now UU, you know, like mixed Victini with Grass Knot and stuff like that is now a thing. But my Victini is running V-Crate, Bolt Strike, U-Turn, and Trick, and it's holding a Choice Scarf, and it's Adamant because I don't really have any other really fast Pokemon besides Tornadus. And I was like, you know what, I may as well just give this Scarf to Victini because, you know, Scarf Victini is an actual thing. But then moving on over to my Cloyster. My Cloyster is more of a sort of support Cloyster. Like it's still like it does work. Like this thing is probably just one of the best Pokemon on my team. It does amazing work. But the moves I run on it is Icicle Spear, Rapid Spin, Shell Smash, and Explosion. So it's not your typical Cloyster set, but either way it does work because a lot of my team, if you look at it, is weak to, you know, Stealth Rock. So if I'm gonna have that on a hyper offensive team, you know, Stealth Rock really fucks me up, so I may as well have a Pokemon on my team that could potentially get rid of those rocks. And I guess Cloyster just fit. He honestly just fit, and he's fast, he can set up, he can take hits. I think he was just like a perfect fit for this team. Next up though is Lucario. He is of course just the regular jolly Lucario with a Life Orb, Extreme Speed, Bullet Punch, Close Combat, Swords Dance, and he just sets up and wrecks lives. Honestly, it's just his job. Next up we have Tornadus. I originally had Noivern on my team instead of this guy, but Noivern just honestly wasn't punching holes in people like I wanted him to, so I replaced him with Tornadus, and Tornadus seems to be a good fit because Tornadus also runs knockoff, you know, just to make use of his Define ability, and plus knockoff's useful. So Tornadus does work, you know, he's done so much more work than Noivern did, so he's a pretty cool addition. And you know, he's not as fast as Noivern, but he's a little fatter, I guess. He can take a hit 2 or more, and I don't know, I just like what the hell, I just like Tornadus a lot more overall. And then we have probably like my 5th favorite Pokemon. I don't really like putting them in order, but one of my favorite Pokemon, Honchkrow. I love this guy so much. He's probably just my favorite Sucker Punch user. You know, if Scrafty actually got Sucker Punch, he'd be my favorite, but you know, Honchkrow is just probably my favorite Sucker Punch user. I love this guy. It's just the regular sort of Life Orb Honchkrow with Sub, Roost, Sucker Punch, and Brave Bird. This guy does work too. I just figured, you know, since it's a hyper offensive team, I'm going to need as much priority as I can get, and there's not much more priority you can get than Sucker Punching Honchkrow. And then last but not least is my lead Infernape. He's got Fake Out and Stealth Rocks and Overheat and Close Combat. Pretty standard. He's Naive Nature, you know, just for the mixedness, and he's just a great Pokemon. He's never really failed me at all. You know, again, Fake Out for priority, and he's just a great, you know, Pokemon for the team. But looking over my opponent's team, Man, he looks like he could be running some sort of hyper offensive-ish team, I guess. He doesn't really have, well, I wouldn't say exactly, because I mean, Scrafty could be like his physical bulk, and Togekiss could be his special, but other than that, he doesn't really have any sort of fat Pokemon on his team unless he's trying to run like a max HP, max defense Honchkrow or something. I don't know. I'm not gonna judge. Either way, he looks to be having more of an offensive team too. So it's gonna be a really quick battle. I just want you guys to know it's a really quick battle. It's not gonna be sped up at all, and it'll still be over pretty damn fast. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I thought this battle was really good. That's why I selected it. And next time we have a battle over here at Lumiose, it should be a hacked Mon battle. Which hopefully you guys are going to enjoy too. So I don't know, I guess you can just let me know in the comments of that video which you prefer, the hacked Wi-Fi battles or just regular Wi-Fi battles. Either way, let's go ahead and get into this one. So I'm going to be leading off with my Victini while my opponent is going to be leading off with his Darmanitan. Now honestly, the reason I've led off with Victini rather than my Infernape was because I was like, he's got an Espeon on his team. I don't really know with Infernape. just to fake out and then switch back out, you know, just because I don't want to take a sidekick. And my team, of course, is hyper offensive, so I can't really take hits. So, you know, matchup at the beginning is definitely important for me. So I guess this matchup wasn't too bad. Now I go for the U-turn, and it doesn't really prove that this Darmanitan isn't Scarf, because Victini's naturally faster than, actually, yeah, maybe he's an Adamant Scarf too. I don't know. It doesn't really prove that he's not Scarf though. He could be an Adamant Scarf too. If he was Jolly, he would have estimated me, but that's not the case. So I decided to go into my Lucario because I know he's got no reason at all to go for the Flare Blitz, and Lucario is probably the Pokemon I need least on my team, honestly, because Lucario, my opponent, as you can see, he's got a lot of Pokemon that can deal with my Lucario as he brings in his Nidoking. Now I decided to bring in Natsu because I figured my opponent was a good player, and I was like, you know, this thing's sashed anyway, and plus it'll help me find out if this Nidoking is Scarfed at all too, you know, because I hate Scarfed Nidoking. So I was like, well, if he goes for the Earth Power, you know, as I'm predicting him to go for the Ice Beam, predicting me to go into Tornadus or, you know, fucking Honchkrow, but pretty much my mindset behind that was, you know, if I'm sashed, I can, you know, take the hit. Then I can go for a fake out, and if he stays in, then he's Scarfed, and I can just let my Infernape die and bring something in to deal with the Nidoking. Either way, he brings in this annoying ass Togekiss, you know, switching out. You know, that sort of proves to me he's Scarfed because he did hit me with an Ice Beam. But yeah, like I said, he brings in the Togekiss now, so I'm like, okay, it's a Scarf Nidoking. That's good to know. And this Togekiss is just going to be annoying. Go for the Thunder Wave. I do get my Stealth Rocks up though, which is going to be really, really useful because the Espeon's obviously there to deflect them, but the Espeon didn't get to do that. And this Togekiss is just going to end up dazzling, gleaming. I guess he was predicting me to switch out into some sort of Pokemon such as Honchkrow, or maybe he just wanted to take out my Infernape without missing an Air Slash, which I don't know, that doesn't make sense because he went for an Air Slash next turn. Either way, I let my Infernape die off there since he was paralyzed. He's pretty much useless and all, and then I bring my Victini just to hit him with a hard V-Crate. But of course, Togekiss is fat as fuck and decides, you know what, I'm gonna live this hit, and then, you know what, Thunder Wave. And I'm just upset about that. I'm like, I should have probably sent him my Lucario. That probably wasn't my starter's play, but I didn't really want my Lucario to be paralyzed either, because I know from that range Bullet Punch wouldn't have taken him out by any sort of means. And it's not good having a Pokemon with priority moves paralyzed, because, you know, you could try to go first and it just won't work out for you. So here, I predict him to go for an Air Slash, and I decide to bring in my Lucario. And, you know, one of two things is going to happen here. If he roosts up, then I can bring him a Lucario clean, get no damage off of me, Swords Dance, take an Air Slash, then Bullet Punch him to death. Or I can bring him my Lucario, take an Air Slash, which I did take an Air Slash, and then Bullet Punch him to death the turn after, which he decides to stay and he doesn't decide to switch out, which I was kind of worried. I was like, if this guy switches out into like Darmanitan or something, that's going to be really fucking annoying. Either way, he brings in his Darmanitan. And if he did bring in the Darmanitan, that would have, you know, probably took him down to the range where this Extreme Speed would have killed him off, because this Extreme Speed takes him down to really little health. So if he did get a Bullet Punch off of him, if he switched into his Darmanitan, he would have been dead. But that's not the case, so I'm just going to let my Lucario die off here. I didn't expect that Extreme Speed to do as much damage as it did, honestly. Life Orb Lucario was a monster. But yeah, he's just going to Flare Blitz me. I'm going to just let him do that, because nothing wants to take off Flare Blitz with Mr. Darmanitan. The only thing I would really want to take off Flare Blitz with Mr. Darmanitan is my Infernape. But either way, this part here, I make a horrible play. Since my Cloyster doesn't have Ice Shard, you know, and he has a Honchkrow with Sucker Punch, I don't know what I was thinking. I decided to bring in my Cloyster, and I was like, hey, you know what, I don't really have any other answers to this thing. I think the best switching for me, honestly, would have been Victini, and to allow him to just go for a Flare Blitz on Victini or whatever. But I bring in my Cloyster, he goes for the Flare Blitz, and he takes me down to my Sash, which scares me. And I get the Shell Smash up, which doesn't really matter because I'm gonna die like no matter what next turn, like, or, you know, after taking a hit. But yeah, I get the Shell Smash up, and luckily Scrafty doesn't have Sucker Punch or Fake Out. I was like, oh, he brought this thing in to fake me out. You know, I thought for sure he would have brought in his Honchkrow beforehand, but I completely forgot that my opponent probably thought I was the regular Cloyster set with, you know, Ice Shard. I need to take into account that Cloyster is usually seen as like a Rock Blasting, Ice Sharding, Icicle Spearing, Razor Shelling Pokemon, whereas, you know, yeah, either way. Here, I go for the Explosion. Honestly, the reason I did that was just because I fully 100,000,000,000% expected the Sucker Punch, but he didn't do it because, like I said, he most likely expected my Ice Shard and was like, well, going for a Sucker Punch here is going to be pointless, so I may as well Brave Bird if I somehow live this. And I just went for the Explosion just because I was like, I'm going to die anyway, and I just didn't really think that one through. Either way, I decided to bring in Vibes here, and then I find out I outspeed this thing, I knock him off, and he turns out to be a Toxic Plate Nidoking. Now, people run that just to bluff the Choice Scarf, and he got me. He goes for the ice beam and crits me. My plan there was to come in, take an ice beam from this thing and knock him off just to get some, you know, chip damage off or whatever, to the point where I could bring in my Honchkrow and I could sucker punch this thing to death with, you know, no matter what he wanted to use on me. But apparently he wasn't even a choice scarf to begin with, so that's kind of a bummer. Either way, he didn't really want to switch out because, you know, no matter what, I pretty much got the game in the bag here. I can just spam sucker punch all day, and I'm assuming his Nidoking has just got nothing but offensive moves, you know, because if, you know, he could have switched out, I guess, into Espeon, but Espeon would have caught that sucker punch real quick, unless it had Substitute or something like that, or Calm Mind, I don't know. Either way, that's the game. I ended up winning with my Honchkrow and sucker punch. That's the reason why sucker punch is a pretty annoying move to deal with. I apologize to my opponent for using that on him. It is an annoying move, but it's one of my favorite moves in the game. It's just such a good move. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed the battle. It was a really quick one, really short one at that, and hopefully next time we'll have a Hacked Mons battle, and this is going to be fun. I can't wait to bring that to you guys. Either way, till then, I'm out.